It is Wednesday, the 8th day of March, 2023. I almost said 2028. The fuck is that? If I'm still doing this in 5 years, oof, yikes. I feel sorry for all three of you people listening. I was hoping to have something a bit more insightful to say in the open this week, but I literally have nothing. It's another one of those weeks where I did nothing that would lead me to complain, which is sort of a downer. I have complaints. Granted, most of them are sports related and job related and shit like that, but you know, the usual crap. Um, but I do have this week a killer interview with a Boston musician and actor Gene Dante of Gene Dante and the Future Starlets. If you're not familiar, you should be. First, the dude can fucking sing. Second, the band is excellent. Third, was the first two not good enough for you? You fucking asshole. I've been playing the shit out of the album, and it came out 2 years ago, which is sort of a bummer. Like I really wish that it was something I picked up on early, but you know what? I've picked up on it now, and I've been playing the shit out of it for like the last month, and it's great, catchy as hell, glam rock. It's terrific. So do yourself a favor, check it out. Gene Dante and the Future Starlets Deluxe. DL/UX. Deluxe. Get it? Clever. Um, so I have that. It's an excellent interview. Probably take up most of the episode, or we can just say fuck it and go long because that's what we like to do here is annoy people who listen to the show, right? Huh? Anywho, I have not a ton of shit to talk about. We will be talking soccer because, ooh boy, buckle up. I'm probably going to complain about like dumb shit. The fucking railroad crap in Ohio. I might talk a little bit about that. Um, my latest bit on Twitter, which is, you know, something I find amusing. Probably complain about Ron DeSantis, and actually, I probably won't because he's not worth my fucking time. I also have a couple of voicemails that I'm looking forward to playing. And of course, as I mentioned, that fucking kick ass interview with Gene Dante. So stick around, listen close, tell your friends, or don't. Don't be an ass. But yeah, what else? Oh, I suddenly forgot how to do the show. That's all right here, right now, on episode number 152 of Complaints and Observations.
Still, the most less than average podcast on the internet. With a host who's the smartest person in the room when he's the only one there. A continuing odyssey into mediocrity. Guaranteed to make you question your life choices and your own sanity. This is Complaints and Observations with Dave LaPointe. Who the hell is Dave LaPointe?
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
All right, what's up? What's going on? How are you? How you doing? Good? Yeah, me too. Yeah, super good. So listen, just wrapped up that dynamite interview with Gene Dante that I was mentioning earlier. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with the world. Smart guy, interesting guy. Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. And it's funny because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, man, I was on the phone today. I would, probably for a solid 5 or 6 hours just on the phone talking to people today. It was brutal. Fucking brutal. And now I'm here talking to you. So get ready for this to sound like crap. Get ready for me to Probably check out sooner rather than later. Nah, that's not true. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep talking. Why? Because I love microphones. That's why. Big fan. But the downside is I didn't really have a ton of content. So the fact that I got Gene to come on tonight is pretty fucking key. Pretty fucking key. But, there are a couple things that I want to just touch on. First and foremost, I'm finding it quite amusing watching Ron DeSantis take his, you know, hate-filled presidential campaign tour on the road. And I can't wait to see what is going to happen between the dueling troglodytes of DeSantis supporters and Trump supporters. What is going to happen? Because it's going to come to a head. They're going to fight each other tooth and nail. Two massive egos that can't be held back. They're going to fight each other. They're going to split the vote, and the Democrats are going to win again. And it's going to be boring politics again, which, quite frankly, is the best kind of politics because nobody needs that shit. Nobody. Who the fuck needs that kind of theatrical bullshit stress in their government? It's not needed. It's not welcome. And look, it's generated by both sides, so don't fool yourself into thinking that it's strictly a one-sided issue. Here comes the fence riders. I am solidly riding that fence to tell you how it is that neither side gives a fuck about you. Me, different story. You, fuck you. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I didn't mean that. But the best part is he has a book out, something about freedom. It's like, dude, freedom if you're a white Christian. If you're anything else, you have no freedom in the state of Florida. So don't fucking fool yourself. But that he'll never say that. He'll never come out and say it. Even though he's just going to keep doing shit that says it for him. His actions speak far louder than his actual words. But enough about that. It's a tiring topic. I'm sorry. And really, I don't really have much else to talk about, which is kind of fucking boring. I could opine about a handful of different things, but nothing is, good. We could talk about what else can we could talk about the state of California saying they're not going to do business with Walgreens anymore. How is that going to work out? I mean, I understand the point. Like the governor there, Gav Newsom. I understand. You're obviously angry about their decision. To not offer the abortion pill in certain states. I get it. But I mean, how many fucking regular people are you gonna fucking screw over by inconveniencing them when they just need their blood pressure meds? And it just so happens that the amount of hoops they're gonna have to jump through. I understand the point. I just don't know if you thought it through. You know what I mean? We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I don't want to talk about serious shit. It's boring. It's boring and it's annoying. So yeah. What else can I talk about? This segment's gone over like a fucking lead balloon, eh? Well, that's pretty much how everything goes around here. Womp 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 womp. All right. Yeah, I had to wait for the actual audio to come back so that I could edit said audio from the interview. But now that I'm going to do that, I can't believe I just wasted fucking 5 minutes of my life talking about nothing that includes Ron DeSantis Ugh. Gross. My guest this week, Boston musician and actor, whose band, Dante and the Future Starlets, their latest album, Deluxe, is fucking outstanding. You can find it on all the usual streaming platforms and at your local Strawberries Records and Tapes. That last part is not true. I've just always wanted to say it. And quite frankly, he is way too good to be on this dumb show. But since he has agreed to be here, I am thrilled to welcome to the show Dante. Here he is. Listen, first and foremost, thanks so much for agreeing to come on. Secondly, I am so into the album, it's ridiculous. I've listened
That
to it
is,
probably a billion times. It's fucking fantastic. Like
you are
literally from beginning
very,
to end. It's so good.
wow, you're very kind. Like, seriously, that is, hearing that makes me so excited because I'm always, the big fear about, when you create something is that you're like, I think it's good. Is anyone else
Mm.
going to like it? Like, it's one of those, like, is this accessible? I hate that term. Like someone goes, it's when someone says your work is inaccessible, or that's like a nice way of saying it sucks, right? Like, so I'm always like,
People would
is,
actually
is,
say that? That's an actual
well,
have you heard that comment before?
not to me. It's like a fucking artsy way to say that somebody doesn't like it. Me, I use the
It's
the basic Cro-Magnon. I don't get it. Like if I don't like, and that's why, like, when I release something, I try not to talk about it in advance, because I remember a very strange night where I was sitting there listening to, I don't know if it was NPR or something like that, with one of my friends, a really good friend. And we were listening to, I think it was Ryan Landry, actually. We were
okay.
we were listening to this thing, and this guy was talking about his album and the way he'd constructed it and blah blah blah, and all these themes and what all the experimental stuff they did. And then they played some of it, and we just looked at each other like, all that talk and this sounds like doo-doo. Like, what the.
Oh.
And so that's why I'm like, I just like to do it quietly behind the scenes, and then release it. And then if people like it and they want to talk about it, I'll talk about it,
Mm.
because I have that fear that I'm going to be the guy, praising my turd on some public radio station. And I never want to be that guy.
Understandable. And look, so I mean, honestly, it was a question that I posed to you in the email. Was I'm genuinely curious
Mm-hmm.
about what it's like to be a creative in Boston at this point, right? Now, I mean, how much time do you spend outside of the city? And then how much time do you live in town? Do you work in town?
Okay, so let's break that up into pieces, because that was like a quadruple question, right?
It sure was. I'm terrible.
So
You'll find that I'm asking like 6 questions at one time.
all right, no worries. Well, let's unpack it piece by piece. First off, I don't live in the city limits. I spend a lot of time there. My rehearsal studio was previously there until recently. We can get into that shortly.
Oh, yes.
But a long time ago, I really decided that I kind of want to just escape to the mountains when I'm done, when I'm not, when I'm not being quote Dante in public.
Sure.
I just like to be
Mhm.
somewhere that's quiet and green. So I feel like it's kind of like a little fortress of solitude action, where I can like park my car off the street. I don't have to worry about it getting destroyed by plows or my neighbors.
Yeah.
Or fighting for a parking spot, and
Sure.
I just, I want to wake up somewhere where I'm not living above and below people. So and I think there's a time when you want to do that. And I used to, and I used to have that. I had that for many years, whether it was in Alston or Lynn or even Manhattan. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? I like opening my window and looking out and seeing trees, so
Yeah.
I'm into that. And I find myself more inspired by that. And if I really need like a city memory, believe me, I've got plenty of them. If when I'm writing, as an actor, you rely on your memory, your sense memory, your things like that to be creative and to get into a moment. So that part that's where I live, but I'm in the city all the time.
Yeah.
Let's break it down. Like now, you wanted to talk about the scene in Boston, like what it's
Well,
like,
just
what's
so
like
much
being
like,
creative.
what's it like being a creative in in the area, I guess, these days, just because the way that, as someone who's on the outside of that entirely,
Mhm.
it seems as if, things have changed over the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years or so. And it's become sort of homogenized and not nearly as, um, you know, eh, the sort of place that really would breed some creativity back in the day. I don't know if that's still the case in town. It's just that the way that the whole city has become overly gentrified at this point. I'm curious, your take on that, and what it would be like for someone new, I guess, to come in and try to emulate what you've done, in a sense.
Well, I would say that state of the city, you are absolutely preaching to the choir and correct as far as I'm concerned with the over gentrification of the city. This
Yeah.
city, they are building. I don't think Marty Walsh's office turned down any development offer that came across his desk. I think he rubber stamped everything. And
Hmm.
I think that he, under the banner and the AKA the guise of progress, cramming more vertical space into an already dense city is not progress. It's
Right.
danger, is what that is.
Hmm.
And what it is we're seeing luxury condo buildings that are half full. People can't afford them. How many millionaires can a city hold? And
Right.
that's you have to be a millionaire. I'm still the generation where a millionaire means something. The
Oh,
idea of
sure.
but like you have to be a millionaire to afford these condos, and it's absolutely ludicrous the
Mm.
prices they're charging. So what that does is that means every little scrap of land is up for grabs, and it's scary. So what that does is obviously, it creates friction, it creates flight because the artists have to leave.
Mhm.
Anybody who's not making zillions of dollars has to leave. And it's really nice, that there are patrons of the arts, and there should continue to be. There were in the times of Mozart. Mozart
Yeah.
wasn't a millionaire, he wasn't rich. He existed at the grace of his patrons,
Mhm.
at their generosity. And that's kind of like been the musician's plight, excuse me, for centuries, until like maybe the 70s, when you hear the stories of suitcases full of money and cocaine and stuff like that. That might have been the blip when the musicians got the line, well, a good chunk of what was going on.
Right.
um
Right.
but I would say that for the city, it's I can mostly only speak to the music part, because I will say this: there's a definite discrimination in the type of art you make. So
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
if
Sure.
you're an audio artist, I say this and it doesn't matter, I'll say it, it's just a fact. If you're an audio artist, you are highly discriminated against versus if you are a visual artist. Everyone likes to praise the visual artists, the painters, the installation piece people, the sculptors. They like to praise those people, the photographers. You know why? Because their art is quiet and it doesn't disrupt their day. It doesn't, as much as they think that the image challenges them, and it
Oh,
should, it doesn't
yeah.
disrupt their nice, quiet, peaceful life. Because if I don't like it, I can just look away because my weak,
Mm.
fragile constitution can't handle it. But an audio artist is like, it's something you listen to. And honestly, if there was a thing, well, I guess people who create fragrances are smell artists, but
Mm.
and we there's a joke writing itself somewhere about that. But an audio artist, it's something that you'll have to literally block out your hearing to stop hearing it. That I say that all the time because everyone hears, oh, you're a musician, and then it's like suddenly moment of uncomfortableness. Because like I'll say it this way: if you live in a town like where I live in the suburbs and you want to put an addition on your house, and these suburbs mostly discriminate, well, why do you need this space? And you say,
Mm.
oh, I'm going to build a painting studio, sculpting studio for my kiln and my beautiful pottery and whatever that
Yeah.
playmaking
Uh-huh.
thing is. Or I build,
Sure.
I paint seascapes and I paint this, or oh yeah, no problem. Oh, what are you going to do? Well, it's my home recording studio. Can't have it. My home rehearsal studio. Can't have it. You're going to make too much noise. You're going to bother your lazy ass neighbor who lives and behind you and, sits on the couch all night and stuffs Fritos down their throat all night, can't have it because, that's noise pollution. You're going to
Yeah.
attract a quote bad element. So it's the discrimination in art, anyone, you can have a gallery anywhere. If you have a wall, you've got a gallery. So it's easy.
Sure.
I'm not saying painters have an easy life. I'm not saying sculptors and ceramicists or whatever they are, and projection artists and installation. I'm not saying they have an easy life, but they sure as heck have an easier time getting people to buy into what they're doing than musicians do. You bet they do. And the music industry is more cutthroat and unscrupulous than the porn industry when it comes to the back end. So, and the back end, yes, you can read into that. But I will say that, so it's tough to be a creative now. If you're a visual artist, hey, go for it. Everyone's going to give you a nice golf clap and send you on your way. If you're a dancer, like in the ballet, everyone's going to give you a nice golf clap and send you on your way. That kind of stuff. Photographers, same deal. But if you're a musician where you actually need space to make kinetic live things happen, well, you can forget that. You can forget it. We need more lab space. We need more, pharmaceutical space. Great, because there's nothing like genetic and pharmaceutical experiments going on amid a city of 4 million people. I don't know how big our city is, but because in a major, or at least wannabe major metropolitan area, there's nothing better than labs conducting crazy experiments with things we know nothing about, to be in the middle
Nothing
of that, because
there at all. No,
because nothing could ever get out. I don't care how many
Yeah.
protocols you have. It's going to happen. Someone's going to get complacent and something bad is going to get out. And that's going to happen. The worst byproduct of having a rehearsal studio in your neighborhood is a little bit of noise vibrates through the walls. Oh no.
You might hear occasionally.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my soapbox argument. It's tough. I would say
no. That was awesome. I will say I hadn't heard that before, to be honest. I hadn't heard that sort of separation where, the obviously musicians have always been sort of looked, I don't want to say looked down upon, but almost
no, they have been.
They have. But yeah, exactly. But I mean, in some sense, with a visual artist, like you said, you could just sort of look away. I hadn't really thought about that, and it's a great way to put it. I like that. Nicely done.
Thank you. I try.
You had mentioned that you had studio space in town. I'm curious as to where your studio space was and what happened.
Well, we had a great room for many years at the Sound Museum in Brighton, which is
the Sound Museum. That's
recently closed, and it's basically next door to WGBH. It was. I mean, we had a lot of great things going on there. Was the building a dump? You bet it was. But you know what? But we were allowed to create in there. I filmed many videos, music videos in there. I used it as my own personal black box theater studio, if you will. So there was not just music rehearsals going on there. I rehearsed both the Hedwig and the Angry Inch Band and the Rocky Horror Show Band in that room. We had many music rehearsals. I've many after show parties in that room. The location was absolutely perfect. But now, no worries. IQHQ is here to save the day and put in a genetics lab right in the middle of, right on the Mass Pike. So you can take, you can take that to heart and take it anywhere you want. Right next to WGBH. Yeah. So
I find that
then somebody who nobody watches can report on the news if there's an accident, right? And they'll get the scoop. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody watches WGBH, and I love WGBH. They're also they're encroaching on other people's property. I can't blame, but here's the thing: like, I can't, on the other end of that sword, like David. If you owned a building that was worth $5 million, first off, right then and there, I could stop right there. I would find a way to never work again. If I owned a building that was worth $5 million, if you owned a building that was worth Zillowed at $5 million, and somebody came along and said, I'm going to give you $15 million for this building just to walk away. You're going to tell me,
how do you say no?
You can't. You cannot. That's the difference between having to work and owning an island. Like, you're gonna say yes, you're gonna do it. And like, we can get mad about it all we want, but you can't, like, what can you do? That kind of money is insane. I also question, how do you have that much money to throw on real estate here? Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
well, yeah,
You know,
exactly. That's a whole other show, I think.
right.
But my curiosity with the Sound Museum is the way that they sort of went about it. It didn't seem as if they handled it gracefully. Am I incorrect?
I don't really have a comment on the way they're handling it because I am completely ungraceful when it comes to this entire situation. So I have no place to comment or judge on anyone's reaction of it at all.
Yeah.
I just know that this has been a long time coming with the loss of let's look at Boylston Street outside of Fenway Park with the loss
Hmm.
of Machine. You want to talk
Yep.
creatives, that
Yep.
that was home to the Gold Dust Orphans and Ryan Landry's theater troupe for many years. That was dead space. That was dark from 8 until that was dark all day until 10 o'clock when they would open the downstairs nightclub. And Ryan
Mhm.
resurrected that literally, I would say single-handedly, into a viable theater space and created another line of business for that place. That entire strip is gone because, well, we need another steel and glass monstrosity that no one can afford to live in, and
Yeah.
we'll put retail on the first floor. Like, and you know, great, you know, so Red Sox Disneyland is in full swing now, and that's exactly
Mhm.
what that area is. It's completely out of touch. It has nothing to do with the surrounding areas, including Fenway Park. Fenway Park
Right.
is a
Mhm.
dinosaur that they have glued rhinestones onto. That's exactly what that is. Trying to make it look like it's something hip and now, and it's not.
Yeah.
And you
Oh,
know
that's
what?
a great way to put it. I
For
love
every
that.
dollar, they sunk into that park, $10 should have been donated towards traffic management. And I'm not talking about closing off roads. I'm talking about
Mhm.
putting in new roads, you know, putting in other roads, because that place causes a traffic jam every time there's an event. Oh, and there's even less parking now. So great job. Great job, everybody.
Well, you
Mission
have to utilize
accomplished.
the world class, public transit system that the
See,
city has.
that's the funny part. Working class stiffs like you and me would, and we risk, you know, blowing up, as I have had friends on a flaming train more than once. But
Yeah.
but the rich people will never have to suffer that because a limo will take them to the game, and
Mhm.
they just call beep up boop, Andre, come pick me up. I'm bored with these working class, you know, baseballers.
I don't like these plebeians. Get me out of here.
Well, here's the
The
thing. Let's talk.
bourgeoisie. Yeah.
If we can, I don't want to mire and turn this into a totally negative experience because there's so much good
That's
going
what
on.
the show's about.
Here's what I would say to any young creative. First off, you know more than any of us who are older than you. You really do. You know how to
Mhm.
get people to listen to your music. You know how to newsjack and stitch onto TikTok and do all this stuff to go viral because you have young, awesome, innocent and pure ideas, and
Mhm.
that can shake people's grounds and shake people's foundations. Because let's face it, that's what Mozart did as a composer. That's what Chuck Berry and Little Richard did. That's what Elvis did. That's what the great, you know, Public Enemy, Run DMC, Ice-T, they did it. These
Mm.
people, you're going to make your parents scared and upset. You're doing it right. And that's
There you
so
go.
but the best part about the internet and every app, and God knows there'll be 10 more by the time this podcast airs, you know, those are ways to go viral. You don't need to live in New York to live in
Right.
Boston. You need to live
Exactly.
somewhere. Was it the movie Orange County, which talked about, you know, writers flourish when they're at odds with their surroundings. So if you live somewhere comfortable, you're not going to do anything. Like, here's all great art never came from a comfortable life. You didn't see masterpiece sculptures by, like, you know, the Prince of so and so. You see master
Mhm.
sculptures by some gutter snipe who has passion and then lucked out and got patrons. Or you see painting that exhibits, you know, pain, suffering, vision, whatever. And it's not from somebody rich who's like, look, I've painted my daisies again. Yeah, like nobody gives a shit. Go count your
Yeah.
money. But the
There you go.
artists that suffer create songs, paintings, sculptures, spoken word out of experienced suffering, experienced not have isms, right? Whatever, have not
Oh, there
isms,
you go.
you know,
Yeah.
and shit. Hang on, my headphone. Um, that's where it comes from. So if you're in Missouri, if you're in Kentucky, if you're in Oklahoma,
I'm
if you're
sorry.
in
I'm
Tennessee,
sorry.
yeah, I know, right? Like, but right now, Tennessee's a
Mm.
great place for a riot because of that
Oh, I
legislation.
couldn't agree more.
And
It's coming. Give it
everybody's
time.
calling on Dolly and Miley to speak up. This is your state.
Mm.
Look what they're doing to it. They're outlawing, which just sounds badass, right? Outlaw, like outlaw country, right? But it sounds badass that they're outlawing drag, but they're attacking a good chunk of your base audience. Get on the mic. You have the
Mhm.
power.
Especially Dolly. And that's
She
I'm kind
will.
of
You
surprised that she
wait.
hasn't spoken up yet.
When she does, it's going to be something wonderful. That's I
I
will
hope
say,
so.
and I'll even say it about Miley, maybe with a few
Yeah.
expletives because she's from a younger generation, but I'm into
Sure.
it, and I'm 100% behind them. When they speak, I think we'll be impressed, and we will know that their voice will be heard, and it will be something good.
I
I
certainly
have to
hope
believe it.
so. I'm almost, in some sense, I'm almost prepared to be disappointed, but I'm,
Well, it's
I
always a
hope
good.
that,
The older you get, the more you get that attitude, so you can be
yeah,
pleasantly
exactly.
surprised. I always say to everyone, whenever you're taking on a job or doing anything, under promise, over deliver. Like
Yeah.
Scotty on Star Trek would tell the captain it would take 2 weeks to fix it, but he knew it might take 5 days, so he could get their expectations managed and then
Mm,
come through looking like a hero rather than saying, "Oh, I might be able to get it done in 5 days, 4 if I push it," and then it's done in
yeah.
5 days and everyone's pissed off.
Didn't
Like you,
think that we'd be using Scotty from Star Trek as an
dude,
example of
I am a
stick to it.
nerd to the bone. Dork, nerd, sci-fi. Give it to me. I'm all about it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So
It's great.
don't think, hey, my God love him. God rest his soul. Jim Ottenstein, my first writing partner and bandmate, said to me a
Mhm.
long time ago, and I'm sure he stole the quote somewhere because he always had great ones. He said that rock musicians are nothing more than slide rule geeks with cooler wardrobes.
Ooh,
And he was so right. Oh, God love you, Jim. He was always right.
that's great. I'm writing
Yeah.
that down.
Yeah, it's a good one. But it's true. It's true. And we just somehow, not all of us, but some people, I'm not including myself in there, manage to look cool, even if their dorkiness, their nerdness
Yeah.
is somewhere inside that shell.
It's deep down.
The rock thing is like our armor. We were all frigging nerds and losers and outsiders. The best of us were. Nobody was
Mm.
the popular kid in high school
No,
that became a rock
exactly.
star. That doesn't happen.
It's a
It
fair
doesn't.
point. Doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
No,
Doesn't
it
exist.
doesn't. The
So let
cheerleader.
me
Yeah.
jump in while you're,
Yeah.
and I don't want to cut you off, but
Ooh,
I kind of do.
cut me
Um,
off, please.
Listen, so I am, as I mentioned when we started, I've been listening to the album a ton. I'm curious as to I'm guessing you love it. And I'm hoping you say that, but I'm looking for sort of that. Give me your 2 cents on the album and how you feel that came out.
Wow, that's
It's a
number one.
loaded question.
It's awesome. I love talking about Deluxe. First off, let me say, hearing you say that you love it is why I do it. I want people to love it. You cannot, no matter what you do. That is not the same. I will say that is not the same as I want people to love me. That's not what I'm saying. When we created this record, I wanted it to be better than anything I'd ever done before at anything, any acting
Yeah,
gig, certainly any music recording I ever did. And I said I have all these songs, and just hearing that somebody's into it is the reason why I do it. And I want
it
people
should
to
be. And
love it.
honestly, I'll be honest, Gene. More people should be into it because it's fucking terrific. So
Well, we're working on H1.
yeah,
we're
one
we're
step at a
working
time.
on it. Here's the
There
thing.
you
There's
go.
a thing that our publicist, the great Michael Murata, said. He runs Nivet public PR right now. He said that it's the hardest part of this journey is cutting through the static. You can create
Sure.
the next masterpiece of the millennium and cutting through the static because there's so much out there. That's the tough job. So, but the fact that we created, I would say that's that's the next job, creating a piece of art that people love to listen to and are enjoying the packaging, and into it. That's really, like, honestly, I feel like I did my job, but I also know that there's phase two, which is getting it out there. Hey, Pearl
Mm.
Jam's 10, from what I was told, sat on the shelf after it was released for about 2 years
For a
until
long time.
some radio station picked up
Hmm.
Alive, and it
Yep.
became a hit. And it was 2 years after that album came out. And then then it exploded, So
Hmm.
that to me always will make me feel like I have hope. Um,
Yeah.
Now, when you say about Deluxe, so you gave me a loaded question. I will say this: the overarching mantra above everything we did for Deluxe, and John I
Hmm.
and myself, John I, who produced it, who engineered it, mixed it, mastered it, and is now the CEO of the label that has put it out, H1
Oh
Massive.
wow.
John, well, I'll tell you, I'll get to that story in a second. But John, when we were recording this thing, I told him, I said, look, I every time I look back at the other recordings, I'm always like, yeah, but, and I said,
Sure.
so we created this thing called the no wince policy, which was, when you're listening to a take, when you're listening to a mix, when you're listening to anything, if you wince at all, we
Hmm.
stop right there. We go in and find out what's making you wince, making any of us go, like, oh, that was almost good. And we redo it, we fix it,
Yeah.
we did. And I said, we can't have, even if the whole song is the thing that makes, like, the structure of the song or whatever. So we initiated that. And thank God we weren't on a label and we weren't crushed for time. But we said, let's do this no wince policy thing and really create. And we had all the songs, and then
Hmm.
we crafted the flow, like, start to finish. Like, I was like, there's got to be, I mean, if we're gonna go to the album, and I was not a fan of albums for many years because of the way our, let's see how we consume things. We consume them in sound bites and tweets and titles of articles, but not the article itself. So I said, well,
Yeah.
we should just be releasing single after single after single. And then it was like, when it came time to go into the studio, I was like, we have so many songs that we really should just, like, go for an album. Like, just go for
Mhm.
it. There's a vision here, there's an arc here. A lot of these songs are written over a period of my life where I was, coming out of some darkness and reclaiming myself as the captain of my own ship. And
Mhm.
so I wanted it to tell that story, and John was on board with it. And that was super instrumental. I mean, the band gave it their all, of course, but John brought it to the stage where it is an album that you can listen to start to finish. You can,
Start to
spark
finish. Yeah.
spark up.
You don't see that so much anymore, and it's a shame. But yeah, it's a start to finish album for sure. And I love the way that you brought that up. So thanks for sharing.
Please, thank you.
Terrific. I am I'm also curious about your acting and what you've done. And when we initially started talking, you mentioned that you were auditioning like crazy. So I'm curious about that side of things and how that's going, because it's I find that interesting too.
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking. It right now. Well, I don't have anything on the books yet, but I've had a couple of I pop up here and there on a couple of things.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
auditions. I can't talk too much about them because
Well,
you
of
kind
course.
of
Sure.
can't say. But you know,
Yeah.
my one of my friends, Peter Burkrot, who is an actor who is in Caddyshack. He's one of the teenage boys. He's also
Oh,
an
no
acting coach
kidding.
of mine. Oh yeah, Angie, the one that Bill Murray has the pitchfork to his throat, and the kid in the Knight Riders
No
t-shirt.
way.
Yeah, so Peter,
Wow.
dude, he's a mask guy too. He's up on the North Shore. He
No
is the
shit.
audiobook king right now. His
Really?
voice is on so many audiobooks. He is a legend. He's a good friend, and he's just a great guy. But
What a
he
niche.
taught, yeah, right. And
Audiobook guy. Oh, that's
dude, well,
brilliant.
he's a true, actor, and the voice is a big part of an actor's,
Yeah, sure.
toolkit. And he's the master of this now. But he taught me very early on, when I was getting into, really deciding as an adult, acting
Mhm.
was something I wanted to do. And he said, look, he goes, I want to put it in perspective. He goes, I want you to think of a year. He goes, my 1 year I had was 1,000 auditions, 100 callbacks, one job. And this was back in the day, pre-internet, everything, pre-self-tape, pre-all that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm always going to keep that in my mind so I don't lose my mind when I'm like, I've done 500, I've done 6 auditions this week. I haven't seen it, because like, here's the thing, you cannot, one other actor, and of course I forget their name, said, the fact that they keep calling you back in is the win, because that means it's just a matter of time before you land an audition that they are like, this is the perfect guy for that. And that's, because there's so many, for lack of a more eloquent term, stupid reasons why you don't get the job. Well, gee, I'm sorry, David. You're actually 2 inches taller than the lead. You can't have it. You're too blonde. Your eyes are too blue. You're too handsome. You're too short. You're too skinny, too fat, too white, too black. You know what I mean? Like there's so many, there's a million dumb reasons you're not going to get it that you have absolutely no control over. This is definitely a job where you need to embrace surrender as much as possible. Because what is it? I always say the audition process is indulge, and then the execution process is surrender, because you can indulge to, to workshop it or whatever, and let people try things out and work it out. But then once it's locked down, you just need to surrender to the process, surrender to the director, to the vision, and go for it. So I'm in the, but I use surrender a lot for this whole, the waiting, because, when I do an audition, I literally I put it out of my mind when I'm done, because they only talk to you if you've got it. In the plus column, I will say this: I've auditioned for a couple of network shows where I have not gotten a part yet. However, they have pinned me for it. And then what they've done for subsequent roles, they've contacted one of my agents and said, hey, is Gene available during these dates? We think he might be good for this other role. And they've said, oh no, we don't need him to tape because we saved his audition, and we know he would be good for it. So if you got something, they're going to keep you in mind.
What a grind. What an absolute grind.
Hey, well, what do you want? It's a job that everybody wants, right? And you have to do all your thing on your end to have the goods, the skills, the tactics and all that stuff that you need, right? All the training you need to do this job, right? And then one day you will get the fateful glance. It's like you have to have all your papers in order for the one day that somebody comes along and goes, you know what, you might be right. Let me take what do you know? And then they take you. So, and I hope that day comes for everybody, but let's face it, life, what does life give you? It gives you one guarantee: you're going to die. That's the only guarantee you ever get out of life. So you have to just be like, well, what am I going to do? Spend 8 to 10 hours a day at a miserable job where they tell me I can't get promoted because I'm so good at what I do. And then they pay me a fraction of what everyone else gets. And they laugh at you when they want you to, exceed or succeed or move up or anything like that. And it was never what I really wanted to do, because I always wanted to, and what if I ever, you want to be on your deathbed going, what if? If I'd only, never, don't do it. You're shooting yourself in your foot. You're doing yourself and everyone who loves you a disservice by not chasing what you believe in. Now, if you're going to chase it, you better do whatever you need to do to become the expert at it. What is it? 10,000 hours to become a master at whatever skill you want. That includes all of it. You can't just want to be something, because you know what? Yeah, I want to be rich. Well, then if I really wanted it that bad, I would have become a lawyer or something, right? But you gotta.
Exactly. Yeah.
It starts with a dream, but it doesn't end there. Hard work follows it. All right, I'm preaching.
No, Gene, honestly, look, I know nothing about acting and like the work that goes into it, and the grind is fascinating to me. It's very interesting. I mean, you almost, like you said, when you do an audition, once it's done, you forget about it. That there's really no other way to go about it. Look, I've been in sales my whole life, and I've been told no 18 billion times. If I sat there and was, perseverating on every no that I got, I would never sell a damn thing. So, I mean, it's similar in one sense. Although acting is probably a lot more fun, but still, I can see your point. It makes it really does make sense.
Well, David, to elaborate on your point, I see the correlation, or maybe not correlation, but the similarities in sales and acting. Let's face it, you're going to hear, I always say this to everybody, you're going to hear more no's than yes in life, in anything, right? You're going to ask out, ask out girls, you're going to get told no more than yes, unless you're, I don't know, Chris Evans or something like that, but like, you're going to get told no more than yes. Apply for a job, you're going to get told no more than yes, anything, right? So if you can get, no matter what you go into, I always say, do it with passion and do it with excitement and fervor, but also find healthy coping mechanisms to deal with rejection. That is, because I spoke to a freshman college class about rejection, and I said, look, if you can't handle, I am not an expert. We were talking about being creative and everything, and rejection came up, and I said, you just gotta, it's on you to find out what works for you to go work out, go punch a punching bag, go for a walk, take your dog out on a hike, go do something good for an old person or a person who has who's differently abled, go do something and make you feel good. Volunteer for Little Brothers Friends of the Elderly, because that is a charity I work with, and we fight elder loneliness. But you could do that, but healthy coping mechanisms, you have to have them no matter what line of work you go into. And I say this for anybody chasing any dream, because if you don't know how to deal with rejection now, you better learn. Because what happens when people don't know how to deal with rejection? That's how you get incels. And I would like to believe that you, me, and nobody listening to this is one of those potential people. All right.
I highly doubt it.
I hope not, because that is the pinnacle of entitlement, right? That is the pinnacle.
If you're listening to this and you're one of those lousy incels, please just turn off my show. Thank you.
Oh my God. Or redeem yourself, find a healthy coping mechanism. Nothing is less, or nothing is more unsexy than demanding shit or being entitled about something. Everybody, you might as well have cracked the stinkiest fart in the room. Everyone's going to leave you. So like you're entitled.
That's a great way to put it. I like that.
But good. It's true, right? Like, if people worked hard for something and then they're, that's a different thing. But, if somebody's just like pulling a Karen, I want to talk to the manager thing, nobody needs to hear it. Nobody. No. It helps no one. And in fact, everyone thinks less of you for it.
Absolutely.
Your complaints. Here's a great way. Oh, I get it. Wait a minute. I might have a coping strategy. If something bad happens to you, why not write a song about it? Oh my God. I wonder who could be doing that. Like, right? Like, that was my thing. When somebody hurt me, or if someone hurt someone I cared about, or I was angry about something, that's where I took to my pad and pen. I wrote, I beat up, I have damaged so many frigging guitars writing in an angry mode. I can't even tell you, but and not because I can shred the fretboard. It's just more that I'm a Cro-Magnon and a klutz. But yeah, that was for me. All right, great. We're going full circle. Writing. I would write it. If I just was angry about something, I would write it down. I'd scream it. I'd get in a room with my guitar and I would just work on it, and I would get it out there. That and so it's not that I don't feel those things. I'm not, a Buddhist monk. I'm not Zen. No, by no means. I'm a frigging clod. I am a clumsy dork is what I am. But what I did do is I realized I could write things down, and I would, as if I was creating a beautiful pewter, goblet. I would hammer it out. I would tweak it. I'd look at it, make sure it was balanced. And that's how I would write my songs. And I would, take my anger and I would you put it in the forge or whatever, and bend it to my will, malleate, or, and sometimes with a hammer, because that, helps you get the violence out. But, but you know what I mean? Like, I hope that's
great.
That
was terrific.
All right. Wow. I can't believe I brought that back.
Yeah, it works. Nicely done.
Thank you.
So let me ask you another just sort of band specific question. In terms of what's next, do you have a follow up in mind, or are you focusing on your acting, or are you just kind of doing both and seeing how it turns out?
Well, I will always do both. And
Okay.
the reason is that because I'm both those guys. I'm an
Mhm.
actor and I am a songwriter. I always say songwriter before, like the word frontman bothers me because because it's almost implied that that's all it is,
Mhm.
like, so but
Yeah.
I'm
It sounds
really
very 80s too.
well, and it's also like, so, there's some brilliant, passionate person behind the curtain writing the songs, and this guy's just the cheerleader selling them. But
Mhm.
it's not
Yeah.
like me. I mean, before anyone would even be willing to join in a band with me, I would play out acoustic, and then suddenly I'm a singer songwriter because I have an acoustic
Mhm.
guitar and it's just naked and it's like not with a full band. Suddenly, when you get a
Sure.
band playing your music, you're a front man, but I'm really the songwriter. But
Mhm.
anyway, but those are the two guys I am. So I'll always do it. And because one day, one or the other won't pan out or whatever. We do have, I'm always, here's the thing, David, I'm always writing. I'm always writing
Sure.
quips
Yeah.
and phrases. I pick up a guitar several times a day just to maintain my sanity while I'm doing other stuff. And,
Mhm.
and I'm always working. So I've got pretty much the makings of the next record or two EPs. I'm not sure what we'll do. I have to talk to the label, but we've got that,
Mhm.
that's always in the oven. How's that?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'll continue to audition. The band is we are appearing at a Terry Hall tribute on March 18th at the I think it's the American Legion or something in Jamaica Plain, Mass. But it's like a venue that holds 250 people, and we're going to sing a few songs by the late great Terry Hall, who was in the Specials and Fun Boy 3. He's awesome, and so we're doing a few of his
Nice.
tunes. And I'm looking for gigs for us. I'm really my big thing though is I want to play. We're ready and and it's time to make the rounds from Maine all the way down to New York and possibly DC, out west of
Mhm.
Philly. Those are the things I want to do. I want to just get in an RV and do some dates around the Northeast. That's my goal. Playing Boston
Nice.
is wonderful and I love doing it,
Yeah.
even though there are diminishing opportunities because of
Mhm.
aforementioned gentrification. But
Yeah.
it's also, how many times can you play in a city? I don't like to play more than once a month, if not less, really, because people just get bored with you. You gotta go away and come back, and that's the way it is.
Interesting take. That's interesting.
Well, think
Y-
about it. If somebody played, it's not like I have an audience where I could play every week and like 100 people will show up. That's crazy. The act wouldn't change enough. It's not,
Well,
so
that
you
is
gotta,
crazy. Should have
yeah.
far more than 100 people. That doesn't make
Oh,
any sense.
I do try, but you know what I mean. Like you got to make it special. I feel like it's like it has to be an event. It has to be something special.
I
I
see what you're
want to play,
saying. Sure.
and
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a snob. I want to play with bands I like, so I don't want to just take a gig, just to take a gig because
Just
that's
to take a
ridiculous.
gig. Sure. Yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am a sucker for playing, places like O'Brien's or Sally O'Brien's or, like I love small, awesome dive bars. That's where I cut my teeth. Hey,
Mm.
when I was a kid, my first show was at TT the Bear's place on like a Tuesday night. And so
Nice.
I am no stranger to that.
Yeah.
and
They just don't exist anymore. Like you said, I mean,
well,
I've had this
it's tough,
conversation
right?
multiple times. Yeah, it just doesn't, you mentioned O'Brien's, and that's the only one that really comes up anymore, which is a
Well,
shame.
it is a shame. And so here's what you do. We, like I said about young artists and creatives, we just, you got to think of surrounding areas and it doesn't
Mhm.
have to be in Boston. Malden
Yeah.
Malden is the new rock city right now. And so
Oh,
if you were thinking about getting in, it's too late. But there's Faces Brewing Company. They've invested in their room, their sound. They actually did it smart where they have a rock room in the back and a restaurant in the front. Brilliant. That's some of the most successful places I've ever seen. The Shaskeen up in Manchester, New Hampshire, same model where there's
mhm.
a venue in the back room, and the Shaskeen. They haven't changed it. I haven't talked to them in a bit, but it's there's no cover. So you literally walk in, you can hang out in the pub in the front, listen to regular old whatever's playing on the DJ thing, and then you can go in the back room and watch a band and you don't get charged any money. That's the model. There's got to be a way to make that model work. But play,
Holy
other
cow.
place. Hey, Geno's in Portland is one of the greatest rock clubs ever, man. That's Portland, which is an awesome city, and it's well worth the trip. Grab a cheap hotel room and stay up there because it's a great time. Geno's, I think it's an old burlesque theater too. It certainly looks like one, and the sound was awesome. And
Wow.
we'll head down to the Bowery Electric in New York, hopefully again. I got to figure it all out. Right now, I'm looking for an assistant that can help me with that stuff.
There you go.
I can't be
All
on the
right.
phone to everyone all the time.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're a busy man, Gene. You're busy doing terrible podcasts. So,
Oh my
how are
God,
you
are you
supposed to
kidding?
know?
I just love, I love shooting the shit, like it's crazy, but I shouldn't say
It's
shit, right?
been, yeah, look, and this was an awesome conversation. So thanks again for coming on. Hearing the way that you sort of described the city was great. The way that you described the music scene was great. I'm glad that you mentioned the Sound Museum just because it's one of these things that kind of irks me. Even though I have zero connection to it, it's just something that's always sort of been there
Right,
for a specific purpose that, when you drove by it, you knew what it was and you knew, oh, hey, there's probably some cool shit going on in there. But
right.
now that it's gone, that whole area is becoming completely different than what it used to be, even Christ, 10 years ago. But that sort of goes to what I was saying about the increased gentrification of the city and the world-class status that they're trying to project. The damn good thing they didn't get the Olympics in this city. Oh
Oh
Christ, it would have
God,
been an absolute nightmare.
where would they put it? That's the
I
thing.
have no clue. Yeah.
Because like we don't have the room. Like that needs, where it needs to go. I know this sounds stupid. Springfield. Because they need the economic injection, this
Mhm.
is Boston doesn't need it. We have enough shit here already. Yeah, where the hell would they put the Olympics?
I don't
Fenway
know. I
Park,
don't know.
the
Yeah,
Garden, where else? I mean, that's nuts.
that's it. Yeah, they'd
Look
be
at
in
Lake,
Providence. They'd be in
yeah.
Foxborough. They'd be in probably in New York City. They'd be everywhere. But it would,
Look at Lake
just
Placid, New York. They built it all for the Olympics and no one goes there anymore.
no one goes there now. It's the occasional hockey tournament for
Mm,
kids or things like that. But that's about it now. It's a
right.
shame. But whatever. All right, Gene, this has been phenomenal. You
As
have
long
entirely surpassed my expectations, which were already lofty to begin with. So thank you. Um, I am, thrilled to, keep telling everybody about Deluxe and about the band in general.
well, thank you.
And I will be, following the band closely and your various exploits moving forward. And again, I very much appreciate you taking some time to shoot the shit.
Well, thank you, David. I appreciate that. Hey, if I may ask a question, if you
Yeah.
did you get enough information about the album? I feel like I kept detracting you, and I apologize for that. I hope I didn't.
Don't apologize for anything. I mean,
Mm.
as I mentioned, I just was, wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed it.
Well,
So, I mean,
thank you. I
it's one of
appreciate
these
that very
things where,
much.
I could say that a billion times, but it'd be a very boring interview. So, you know,
Oh.
but
Any favorites on the album or anything? Any
Pigs in the
tracks you had
Powder Room,
questions about? Oh, really? Oh, dude.
oh, hands down. It
One
is
of my
such a fucking catchy song, dude. I mean, I just am constantly singing the chorus like just over and over again. Like, I don't know why,
really.
but whatever, it just grabbed me. It's such a great, catchy tune.
Remember how I told you when I was angry, I would write songs? That
Sure. Yeah.
literally that exchange that is described in the chorus,
Mhm. Yeah.
we're lovely when we need you, that came from somebody. I actually, when I wrote my one-man show, um, I tell the story about that, where that song came from, and it was basically like somebody I was really really into was, we were
Mhm.
in the nightclub together and we hadn't seen each other in a while, and this is someone who like kind of, like, I guess if I had a heart, they broke it. I don't even know. But they said, I remember they were like, long story short, they said something about trying to get cocaine. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, I guess you can talk to that guy. You want to behave like, and before I could talk, they go, don't worry, we know how to work people. And he walked away. And I was like, I was like,
Oh,
yeah, you do. You definitely do. I was like, That was the same smile that I fell for. I was like, you fucking turd. As I said, really said to myself for being such a sucker, but that whole we're lovely when we need you. That's what
Yeah.
that is, and the shadow of someone I thought I knew that like, I was like, how can I create a really loaded statement in that? And
Mm.
thank you.
Well,
That
you
means a
nailed
lot
it.
to me because that's one of those angry songs. I came up with that riff and everything. And I was like, and the metaphor for the pigs and because you know what they're doing in the powder room. And
Mhm.
it's called, and I call it the powder room for that specific cocaine reason.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Well,
thanks for
I'm
sharing that.
glad you like it.
That's
Thank you.
yeah,
That was a very close to the black heart. I wrote that one.
that's great, but awesome.
Yeah.
Gene, thank you. I'm done taking up your time, but listen, thank you again for agreeing to come on the show.
My pleasure.
And hopefully down the road, maybe when the next album comes out, I'll see if I can't get you back on to talk about the probably some more lab space coming into town or spreading out into the suburbs, but we'll see.
All right. I love it. I would be my
Thanks so
pleasure
much.
to
I
rejoin.
appreciate it. Yeah,
Likewise.
looking forward to. Hopefully, I get to see you guys play at some point.
I'd
Uh,
love it.
Fingers crossed.
All right, dude. Awesome.
All right, take care, pal. Appreciate it.
You too. Bye, David.
Bye. Fucking hell, that was good, huh? Man, that was good shit. Thanks again to Gene for coming on to the program and standing on the soapbox briefly, which was awesome. So thank you. A lot of fucking gems in there. What he said about Fenway Park, literally, I want to put that on a fucking t-shirt in the worst way. Fenway Park is a dump with rhinestones glued onto it. What the fuck? Oh man. So much good stuff. So thank you again to Gene. It was terrific. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Like to get more. It seems it's just a lot of musicians. Well, not a lot. I mean, what am I up to? Like 3, 2? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can count the Quiet Violent twice because I've had Donnie on twice, and I had Bobby on, then I had him on. So I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. You could tell that the night's progressing when my speech gets far worse than it usually is. But seriously, go check out that album, Gene Dante. Just go to Apple, Spotify. Fuck Spotify. I don't really like Spotify, even though I'm recording my shitty podcast is hosted by Spotify. Yet I can't stand Spotify. Go to Apple. I'm pretty sure Apple Music pays the most for streams, and Spotify pays the least. I'm not 100% sure on that, but whatever. Just go somewhere and listen to it. Like if you like rock music, it's terrific. If you like heavy pop music, it's terrific. If you just like good music, I don't know what it was, but it's something there grabbed me, and I've listened to it quite a bit. So check it out. It's Gene Dante. The album is Deluxe, DL/UX Deluxe. Check it out. All right. Let's talk about some other shit, shall we? Let's talk about soccer. This is the part of the show where if you don't give a fuck about soccer, I don't care. Fuck yourself, because I love it. Except for right now. Fucking West Ham got absolutely annihilated last weekend. Just gross. The worst performance they have actually put on the field in probably, I would say, at minimum 3 seasons. At minimum. Hands down the worst performance of this season. The players are not, completely tuning out the manager. He needs to go. And I'm tired. I'm sick of complaining about it because it, you know, one, what good does it do, right? Me, who hosts a show about complaining, is sick of complaining about West Ham because it drives me fucking bonkers. The onus is also on the players. You can't play that. I don't care how bad the fucking manager is. You cannot go out on the field and play the way that they played last weekend. It was gross. And the only thing that's like gonna save them is, they're in this, Fakakta European League, and they'll probably win this round and keep moving and playing shit teams, probably get to the semis, and then people will be like, oh, well, David Moyes got him to the semifinals. Oh, big fucking deal. He needs to go. We need a refresh. We need to fucking start over. It's very, very frustrating to watch because they'll go out and they'll win a game, and everyone will be all excited. Oh, look what they've done. That's great. I tell you what, I'm so happy that this is not something that I've lived with my entire life. But at the same time, I chose to follow this club and it has just killed me. Killed me. On the flip side of the coin, however, there is this gem from old friend Will, who I used to work with back in the day at Wayfair. And I actually I saw this voicemail come in while I was recording last week, but I saved it. And I'm so glad that I did because it has progressed even worse than it was when he initially called in. Check it out.
Yo, what's up, Dave? This is Will. Look, Southampton's going down this year, right? I mean, we're getting relegated. And you know what? I've accepted this. I'm not happy about it. But I think I'm starting to come to terms with it. This has been an absolutely disgraceful season. There's no hope. And you know me, I'm pretty optimistic about things. I was feeling good because West Ham was also in the relegation zone. I think they may technically still be, but let's be honest, you guys will weasel your way out of it. And Southampton is going down, and oh my God, it sucks so bad, and I can't do anything about it. Other than that, you know what? I hope you're doing well. And since this show is all about complaints, I'm Mr. Silver Lining, so I feel like bring me on the air. Let's talk. You talk about a complaint, and I'll give you the bright side of it. And I feel like we've got a real segment on our hands here. I hope you're well, brother. Bye.
That is so goddamn good. Will is a genuinely good human. And what a brilliant phone call. Hell of an idea. Like a point counterpoint sort of thing. Anytime, buddy. Anytime. The worst part about Southampton, okay? One, they are talented. They should not be as bad as they are. They have James Ward-Prowse, who is quite frankly the most amazing player on free kicks that I've ever seen in my life. Like the dude is just fucking insane, like literally insane. But they lost FA Cup 5th round. They played Grimsby Town. Now, look, you might not be familiar with Grimsby Town, and there's really no way that I can give like a legitimate comparison, right, to an American team. I can't do it. Grimsby Town currently sit in 16th place in League Two. League Two, which is one league above everyone's new favorite team, Wrexham. So that gives you an idea of how far, you know, how low in the footballing pyramid Grimsby Town is. Yet they went out and beat Southampton. Grimsby Town. It's incredible. Southampton is in such a dreadful spot. A dreadful, dreadful spot. And it's funny because look, as he said, West Ham is indeed in the relegation zone. Although I think they're 2 points out, 1 or 2 points above. But I mean, look, let's be fair. If they do happen to weasel their way out, yeah, they're 1 point above the relegation zone right now. The good thing is, their goal differential isn't atrocious, but it's mostly bad. They need points in the worst way, and we're not getting any anytime soon. But um but yeah, that's fun stuff, huh? Fun stuff. Thursday is that Fakakta Farmers League in Europe. We're playing a team based in Cyprus, of all places, and then we get to fucking play Aston Villa, and that'll be an ass whooping, I'm sure. And then maybe they'll fucking fire the manager. I doubt it. Then again, you see what happens with Southampton, where they fire a manager. He's there for like 10 days, then they fire him and bring on a new guy who's now the whipping boy. Whatever. What can you do? So that was talking soccer. That's good stuff, man. Man, I love that. I also love Will's idea. So look, if you want to actually do that, let's make that happen. Point, counterpoint. Complaint, counter complaint. Or no, just, complaint, silver lining. It's too good and it fits. Hell of an idea. Um, yeah. I have another voicemail that I'm going to share. And I'm going into this one blind. I don't know what this is about. Check it out.
Hello, Dave. This is Detective Richard Grayson with the Bloodhaven Police Department. I don't like when people play God. It's a big complaint of mine. First of all, I'm an atheist, so, it's weird to say people playing God. But you know what? Doctors can maybe get a pass. Certain doctors, can get a pass, for playing God. But Market Basket playing God, enough. Why does Market Basket think that they have a better way of preserving bananas by putting them in plastic bags? I think whoever designed bananas in the first place came up with a pretty good wrapping device, but Market Basket, in their grand wisdom, is now, for some reason, maybe a love of polluting the environment, is now putting the bananas that are already in a casing in a very thin plastic casing, thus trying to improve on the original design of the banana's protective layer. So I don't like when people play God, especially when it's Market Basket. Did you think I was done? I thought I was done too. Now I'm done. Oh, wait. Don't forget.
That is so goddamn good. Will is a genuinely good human. And what a brilliant phone call. Hell of an idea. Like a point counterpoint sort of thing. Anytime, buddy. Anytime. The worst part about Southampton, okay? One, they are talented. They should not be as bad as they are. They have James Ward-Prowse, who is quite frankly the most amazing player on free kicks that I've ever seen in my life. Like the dude is just fucking insane, like literally insane. But they lost FA Cup 5th round. They played Grimsby Town. Now, look, you might not be familiar with Grimsby Town, and there's really no way that I can give like a legitimate comparison, right, to an American team. I can't do it. Grimsby Town currently sit in 16th place in League Two. League Two, which is one league above everyone's new favorite team, Wrexham. So that gives you an idea of how far, you know, how low in the footballing pyramid Grimsby Town is. Yet they went out and beat Southampton. Grimsby Town. It's incredible. Southampton is in such a dreadful spot. A dreadful, dreadful spot. And it's funny because, look, as he said, West Ham is indeed in the relegation zone. Although I think they're 2 points out, 1 or 2 points above. But I mean, look, let's be fair. If they do happen to weasel their way out, yeah, they're 1 point above the relegation zone right now. The good thing is, their goal differential isn't atrocious, but it's mostly bad. They need points in the worst way, and we're not getting any anytime soon. But um but yeah, that's fun stuff, huh? Fun stuff. Thursday is that Fakakta Farmers League in Europe. We're playing a team based in Cyprus, of all places, and then we get to fucking play Aston Villa, and that'll be an ass whooping, I'm sure. And then maybe they'll fucking fire the manager. I doubt it. Then again, you see what happens with Southampton, where they fire a manager. He's there for like 10 days, then they fire him and bring on a new guy who's now the whipping boy. Whatever. What can you do? So that was talking soccer. That's good stuff, man. Man, I love that. I also love Will's idea. So look, if you want to actually do that, let's make that happen. Point, counterpoint. Complaint, counter complaint. Or no, just, complaint, silver lining. It's too good and it fits. Hell of an idea. Um, yeah. I have another voicemail that I'm going to share. And I'm going into this one blind. I don't know what this is about. Check it out. All right, it is time for everybody's. Why did I say that with a southern accent? Ugh. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, the end. And it is time for 3 fucking gripes. Yeah. I struggled with 3 gripes this week. It wasn't a bad week, so I struggled. Gripe number 1, numbers. I just hate numbers. I'm one of these people who gets very overwhelmed when there's too many numbers around. Case in point, we had a meeting at work today in regards to our commission plan and the various machinations of that plan. And the numbers being thrown around were, honestly, by the end of the hour-long presentation, I had a fucking headache. I'm like, I have no idea what just happened there. And I think half of it is, done purposefully so that people are confused and don't ask questions. That's how pretty much every single commission plan that I've ever had in my career, which I really hate saying. In my career, please. I've had 80,000 fucking jobs. I've hated 79,998 of them. In my career, you know what? I'm saving that one. That's just how it goes. But when I see that many numbers on the page, that's why I was terrible at math, awful at math, really fucking dreadfully bad at math. Had to be tutored, like in junior high and high school. Had to be tutored to get through algebra because I just could not fucking figure it out. Funny story, my tutors were the son and daughter of my math teacher from junior high school, right? Both were tall people, played the basketball. One of them went on to play Division One basketball, full scholarship, and now I'm pretty sure the grandson of my junior high math, the grandson of my junior high math teacher, is also going to go to a Division One school on a full scholarship in basketball. How about that, huh? That's some full circle shit. I just hate fucking numbers. They give me a headache. They drive me nuts. And the people that like love numbers, I don't understand them. They're not humans. I'm convinced of that. It's 101011. Periodic table with a centerpiece of mine. If you know that lyric, kudos to you. Gripe number 2, seltzers. Here's another in the very, very long line of ways that the man is out to fuck you. I regularly enjoy seltzer. Bottled seltzer, canned seltzer, infused seltzer, all that fun stuff. Love seltzer. I own a, what's the fucking machine there that makes the seltzer? I own one of those. But anyways, I were out shopping last week, and I noticed that all the national seltzer brands, like your LaCroix or LaCroix, whatever it's pronounced, like Polar, there's some others. They've all moved to 8-pack cases as opposed to the traditional 12, and then still have the fucking gall to charge at minimum $5 a whack. Like, what the fuck is this? When did this happen? Who made that fucking decision? Oh, you know what? Let's fuck the public, charge them the same fucking price, and give them 4 fewer cans. How has this not caused like a mass riot? What started with one brand coming out with an 8-pack, you don't all have to follow that. It's crazy and it's fucking stupid. But it's just one of the many ways, that corporate America just loves fucking putting their thumb down on average everyday Americans who just happen to enjoy a sparkling watered flavored beverage. Blah bitty blah bitty blah. Gripe number 3, jobs. I applied for a job at Nestle last June, selling shit to various retail outlets and whatnot. And then on March 6th, I received the devastating news that I didn't get the job. I was heartbroken. So heartbroken that I realized that I now have a much better job. I just, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, I understand you're probably just like cleaning out a long list of shit that you ignored for 9 months. Just delete it. Put something in your system where you can just delete that shit instead of, sending that out and looking foolish. I'm never going to apply. Yeah, there's a threat. I'm never going to apply for another job with you, Nestle. You're never going to know what it's like to have a mediocre salesperson working for you. How dare you? Do you understand what kind of career I've had? The number of jobs that I have worked where I worked for less than 8 hours and quit. The number of jobs where I worked for less than a week and quit. The number of jobs that I worked for less than a month and quit. Which reminds me, a happy belated birthday to AP Dave. If you happen to be listening to this program, that's what made me remember that your birthday was recently. So, happy belated birthday. Throughout the course of my career, there's nothing worse than having to describe, um, the amount of shit that I have done, quote unquote, professionally throughout the course of my adult life. And I've had that conversation a handful of times at this current job. And it's funny because, of course, I'm getting older and the new people are just getting younger. So, you're sitting there and you're talking to someone who's like 24 years old and they ask you, "Oh, what'd you do before this?" "Well, do you have time? Pull up a chair, son. Let me tell you all the things not to do with your life. Number one, don't start a podcast. Number two, don't go into sales." I liked how, when I was talking to Gene, I threw in a little sales number in there, which, look, quite frankly, I couldn't believe how sort of apropos it was. But at the same time, it was a tad pretentious. No? Yes, it was. But that's what you've come to expect from this fine program. Probably not. So, Nestle, fuck you. Not only have you contributed to making me a fat sack of shit, you've waited 9 months to turn me down for a job. Anyways, listen, that's it for the show. Dynamite program this week. Very thankful once again to Mr. Gene Dante. Go check him out in a variety of locations. I will give you his Instagram handle. It is Gene Dante, one word. GENEDANTE. Now, when you go to Gene's Instagram page, the first post from today, he's wearing a hat that I might have to buy. If I'm going to support the man and thank him for coming on my program, I may have to buy one of these hats. It's pretty dope. Yeah. But yeah, and then go find his album, listen to his album. It's really good. And then keep an eye on him. If you happen to see him out and about, I don't know why would I say if you see him out and about, what the fuck does that mean? Like run up to him, "Hey Gene, I heard you on that stupid fucking podcast." If they happen to be playing somewhere, go see them play. There you go. Nicely done, David. If you want to be on the show, if you know someone who wants to be on the show, I love talking to people on this show. Real life, not so much. But on this show, I'm all for it. So have them reach out in a variety of different ways. Social media, email. They can call in 617-657-4736. Call in, complain, and say, "Hey, I want to be on the show," like Will did. Will, I don't even know if you actually listen to this, but if you do, I'd love to have you on the program. Get in touch. Let's talk. What else? You can go to my Instagram page at ComplainsPod, my Twitter account at ComplainsPod, which has been blown up. I'm up to like 212 followers. Wow. That place is a fucking cesspool. It's getting worse by the day. I kind of wanted to talk about Elon Musk today, but I fucking can't stand the guy, so no. I have a Facebook page, but fuck Facebook. I have a Twitch channel that I can't figure out how to use. I have a YouTube page that I don't do anything with. I also have a Mastodon account and a Post account. Meh. Again, 617-657-4736. You can go to the website. I haven't really updated that in a while. I was just reminded that I have to pay for it again, which is kind of depressing. I don't know why I do it, but whatever. Hey, it's there. Complaintsandobservations.com. I used to do a blog. I haven't done a blog in a long time. Nobody read it, so what's the point? Because I enjoy writing. That's why. Yeah, but that's it. Listen, tell your friends, please. Tell your friends to listen to the show, especially today. The week prior with Robert Dean, my interview with the two gents from The Quiet Violent. I'm still waiting on Jake to get off his fucking ass and mix this goddamn EP so that we can get some new music from The Quiet Violent. Thank you very much, Jake. What the fuck? But yeah, tell your friends, tell your moms. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Godspeed. Ta ta.